Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry for not dropping a video last week. Sometimes things don't go as planned. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about this week. Rin is back to being the number one as he should. The current top 6 is like a reunion of Team Z with the addition of Baru and Underlashes Jr. I was wrong with my prediction when I assumed every team will get a break before a game because we clearly see that this won't be the case for Ubers. Similar to how some teams in the first selection may have not gotten the chance to have a break as well. Chigiri is now the face of Manchester City, and we couldn't be more excited as the Nagi downfall agenda is more than ever going full throttle. So welcome to this weekly chapter review, and like, comment and subscribe if you are an egoist. It seems that some people haven't caught up on how the bid system works in the New Egoist League. Since the first round of matches, we have noticed all the clubs are willing to offer big bucks during the auctions. For a player to get a huge bid or a huge increase on his pre-existing bid, the player has to either be playing for the first time and do something super ridiculous like Nagi's goal, for example, or Baru's hat-trick, or he has to improve and show some stuff he hadn't shown before. Prime examples are Isagi, who went from 17 million to 50 million and now to 150 million, and Rin, who went from 36 million to 180 million. Those are huge jumps and even more justified as we know clubs place more value on goal scorers, and no surprise, the highest bid we have seen so far all had to do with players that scored. When it comes to players who are able to show some consistency regarding their skills and weapons in order to produce results, they will always see their bids increase steadily. Chigiri, Bachira and Baru were able to show their consistency, and this is why their bids increased significantly. Chigiri went from 30 million to 50 million. Bachira went from 32 million to 66 million, more than double. And Baru went from 100 million to 130 million, a 30% increase. Players like Yukimiya and Corona, who are not regarded as goal scorers but who could still display some level of consistency, also saw their bids increase accordingly. Players who failed to deliver as expected but who still performed somewhat at a satisfactory level, still saw their bid increase, albeit slightly, as seen with Kunigami, who only saw a 3 million bid increase from 47 million to 50 million. I hope this makes a bit more sense because I've seen so many people complain about Baru's bid being lower than expected, which is far from the truth. Baru performed as expected, but his team lost, so the 30 million is more than justified. Also, you have to take into account that this is an auction system. Clubs can increase the bid to make sure that the bid is high enough to outbid whoever could be interested in the player. For example, Real Madrid bidding 320 million for Kaiser is a bid that Bayern München seems not willing to match. And the fact that Kaiser had this 300 million bid for this whole time means that no other club was willing or able to offer more to Kaiser. So you can imagine a scenario where most clubs were bidding around 120 up to 150 mil for Rin and PXG to make sure that Rin will be theirs, outbid them with 180 million. The same thought process can be applied to Bayern München and Isagi, and to Baru and Ubers.
In case that needed to be reminded, Rin has always been the best player in Blue Lock, and that was even before man tapped into his destroyer mode. Imagine how more stronger and dangerous he has become now that he seems to have ditched the puppet master style and solely focuses on using all his might to score goals. Rin is better physically and technically than most players. If he loses on physicality, he for sure wins technically. No Blue Lock players are better than Rin in both dimensions. The only dimension where Isagi has Rin beat currently is when it comes to the mental aspect of the game, the intangibles. Isagi will need to show more than no-look passes or whatnot if he wants to prove to us that he is indeed better than Rin, because as of now, although I'm no fan of Underlashes Jr., you gotta recognize that the guy is clear of Inzaghi. The good thing is that football is a team sport and Isagi has a complete mastery of that concept.
Yes guys, as you have noticed, I found myself a beautiful assistant, just like Jempachi Ego did with Henry Thierry. If you've been following the story carefully, you must know that Nagi hitting a wall was written in the stars. It is something needed for him, as I know his comeback will feel like a slap in the face. but before he can rise, he gotta go through hell first. And it might not be totally far-fetched to assume that Nagi's downward spiral has just started. The question is, what will happen to Reo? I am sure he will be fine. Reo has already felt despair, being rejected by Nagi, losing to Nagi and Isagi, and even using the same words his dad screamed at him against Nagi. The guy has definitely hit rock bottom before. However, Reo can do way more than he actually shows. I believe Reo's limitations are currently mental more than anything. Reo does not seem to have a clear sense of what his sense of protagonist is. As Isagi said in this chapter, humans mostly focus on an achievable goal that is in front of them. Since the beginning of the story, Reo's goal has always been to win a World Cup, and to get there he's ready to do anything, even be Nagi's right arm as Nagi reaches the top of the world. This is the first dream he has ever desired. It is a dream to prove his existence. He literally said to Chris Prince that this is his ego. What will Reo do now that he and Nagi have to prove their worth? Assuming Nagi keeps underperforming, Reo will have no other choice than to evolve, because having a high beat is a stepping stone, like he said, to reach his goal. The current status quo is a threat to Reo's goal, so it's guaranteed that he will be fired up for the next game. It turns out, the last time Reo showed a new version of himself, guess who had a front row seat to the show? Isagi. When Reo unveiled his new chameleon style as a mean to survive in Blue Lock, who was watching? Isagi. The Sunshine City vs Uber games offers so many opportunities for the authors. Remember the Team V vs Team X game? When Baru told his teammates that they were okay leeching off his talent, but when the going gets rough, it's suddenly the king's fault? Baru will obviously have a different mindset now. He still is a king, but a different kind. While still acting selfishly, Baru will now, thanks to the defeat against Bastard München, move in a way that maximizes his teammates. A total inversion of the Team V vs Team X game. Baru will still be a solo act, but instead of Ubers adapting their patterns to his movements, I can see Baru also adapting himself. When Baru told Reo and Nagi that their buddy-buddy act wouldn't cut it, well, Isagi actually made that statement come true during the Sunshine City vs Bastard München game. When Baru calls Nagi a slave and Nagi replies that he is Reo's partner and thus there to support Reo, the authors have a chance to invert this in a sense that Nagi will be of no use to Reo whatsoever, and Reo will be the one going on a solo act. Not as a king like Baru, but because he has no other choice if he wants to survive. Going into this game, Uber's strategy will most likely to be shut down the Reo-Nagi connection. Contrary to Team V vs Team Z, where Nagi asked for the ball as he saw Reo being in a tight spot, he won't be able to do something similar because he simply doesn't have the skills yet. Nagi won't be able to do anything on his own, and the frustration will further sink in. He will watch powerless as Reo rises to the challenge. Reo hasn't fully grasped his sense of protagonist, and I believe he has all the pieces in his hands to figure it out already. It's high time Reo, just like Sae, just like Hiyori, aims to be the one that chooses instead of being the one that is being chosen. For someone who claims to have a goal of winning the World Cup, Reo is acting way too passively about it. Reo is as of now a side character in his own story. I don't believe his story will change, rather he will change in order to experience the story he's writing differently, thus reaching new heights. Even when deep in the cold water of despair, while expressing his desire to die, Reo still wanted someone to do it for him. Please, someone. If Reo shall be reborn, there is no better time than right now. The spoiled kid that grew up always getting everything he wanted and that failed to realize he is the shiny thing he should go after. Baru asked Nagi if he was satisfied after scoring a boring goal in that game. In the New Egoist League, Nagi still only has one goal to his name, and I know my king will trash talk to him. Baru said that the next time they faced each other, he will make Nagi his slave. I believe the time is ripe for that, as I can see Ubarus using patterns to have Nagi in a cage, totally locked up. I believe the stars are aligned for Nagi to have a taste, like a real taste of despair. There has to be a point in the story where Reo stops looking up to Nagi. What better time than now to further rub salt into the wound? Chigiri will score a goal to further prove his consistency and his reliability as a good goal scorer. Ubers will win and I wish for a Baru hat-trick, but I cannot shake this feeling that someone else on Ubers may score. I actually can't see who that could be, but yeah, that's about it.
That's gonna be it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.